Mark Consuelos' final ICU wish revealed. When someone we admire faces the fragility of life, our perception of fame changes. The lights, the cameras, and the polished smiles fade into the background, revealing something deeper, something heartbreakingly human. Such was the case with Mark Consuelos, the beloved actor and TV host whose charm has long captivated audiences around the world. But when reports surfaced about his time in the ICU, fans were left shaken, and now, as his final wish from that hospital bed comes to light, the story is both emotional and inspiring. A sudden turn, Mark Consuelos had always been the picture of health, active, disciplined, and energetic. From his early days as Mateo Santos on All My Children to his dynamic presence on Live with Kelly and Mark, he seemed unstoppable. Behind the scenes, though, life has a way of reminding even the strongest that no one is invincible. In the weeks leading up to his hospitalization, Mark had been pushing himself hard, balancing his daily talk show, new production projects, and family commitments. According to sources close to the family, he had complained of exhaustion but brushed it off as just part of the grind. It wasn't until one alarming night, when he collapsed at home, that his family rushed him to the ICU. Doctors described it as a severe medical emergency, and though the details were kept private, it was clear the situation was serious. Fans flooded social media with prayers, while his wife, Kelly Ripa, maintained a brave face on camera. But privately, the fear was real. The thought of losing the man she'd shared her life with for nearly 3 decades was unbearable. The quiet moments in the ICU. Hospitals have a way of stripping life down to its core. No scripts, no rehearsals, just the raw truth of being human. For Mark, those quiet moments in the ICU offered a kind of reflection that fame rarely allows. A nurse reportedly recalled him saying, "When everything's quiet, you start thinking about the things that really matter, not the work, not the show, the people you love." During those days, Kelly sat beside him as often as she could, holding his hand, whispering words of reassurance, and reminding him of all the beautiful moments they'd shared. Their first meeting on All My Children, their secret Vegas wedding, the birth of their 3 children, and the countless adventures that followed. Theirs wasn't just a Hollywood love story, it was a real one, built on laughter, patience, and a shared sense of humor that carried them through life's storms. But amid those tender moments came something unexpected, Mark's final ICU wish. The wish that changed everything. According to a close family friend, Mark's wish wasn't about career, legacy, or fame. It wasn't about accolades or unfinished projects. His wish was heartbreakingly simple and profoundly beautiful. He wanted to renew his vows with Kelly, the source shared. He told her that if he made it out of that hospital, he wanted to do it, not as a celebrity couple, not for show, but just for them and their family. He said he wanted to remind her that she was still the love of his life. In that sterile, beeping room filled with machines and quiet prayers, Mark Consuelos realized that the most meaningful thing he could do was reaffirm his love, not on a red carpet, but in the quiet truth of survival. When Kelly heard his wish, she reportedly broke down in tears. She told him, "You don't need to survive to prove your love, you already have." But Mark insisted, promising that if he recovered, they would do it, a simple ceremony surrounded by family, laughter, and maybe a little music from the 1990s, when their love story first began. A miraculous turnaround. Doctors called it a turning point. Within days of expressing that wish, Mark's condition began to improve. His vitals stabilized, his strength returned, and against all odds, he was soon out of critical care. Kelly later described that moment as a miracle wrapped in gratitude. She told friends that she believed his determination to keep living, to fulfill that promise, gave him the strength to heal. True to his word, a few months after leaving the hospital, Mark and Kelly held a small, intimate ceremony in their backyard. Only close family and a handful of friends were invited. Their children played a central role, reading letters they'd written to their parents about love, resilience, and what it means to never give up on each other. Mark, looking healthy and radiant, wore a simple white shirt. Kelly wore a soft pastel dress. There was no stylist, no camera crew, just love and laughter, and perhaps a few tears. He kept his promise, Kelly later shared in an interview. He told me that his final ICU wish reminded him that life isn't about the big things we chase. It's about the small moments, the ones we often take for granted. Reflections on life, love, and legacy. In the months that followed, Mark spoke candidly about the experience. During an emotional segment on Live with Kelly and Mark, he opened up to viewers, without dramatics, without pretense. "I was scared," he admitted. "I thought I might not get another tomorrow, and when you face that, your mind clears. You stop thinking about what you haven't achieved and start thinking about what you've already been blessed with." Fans were deeply moved. Social media filled with messages of support, admiration, and gratitude. Many shared stories of their own, of how Mark's journey reminded them to cherish loved ones, forgive, and say, "I love you" while there's still time. In that moment, Mark Consuelos was no longer just an actor or TV host. He became a symbol of what it means to live with purpose and heart. The power of gratitude. Since his recovery, Mark has become more vocal about health awareness, stress management, and the importance of rest, especially for those in demanding careers. He often mentions how the ICU stay changed his entire outlook. "I used to think working hard meant saying yes to everything," he said in a podcast interview. "Now I've learned that the hardest thing to do is sometimes say no, to protect your time, your peace, your family." He also became an advocate for mindfulness, encouraging fans to slow down and appreciate the moments that truly matter. Whether he's sharing funny stories with Kelly on live TV or posting family photos online, there's a new lightness in his demeanor, a peace that comes only from facing the edge and choosing to live differently afterward. A love story redefined. Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa have always been one of Hollywood's most enduring couples. But after the ICU ordeal, their bond deepened in ways neither could have imagined. Their renewed vows weren't about celebration. They were about survival, gratitude, and love's quiet power to heal. In Kelly's words, "He made me promise that if either of us ever forgets what's important, we'll just look back on that night, the one when he made that wish, because that wish saved us both." A love story redefined. Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa have always been one of Hollywood's most enduring couples. But after the ICU ordeal, their bond deepened in ways neither could have imagined. Their renewed vows weren't about celebration. They were about survival, gratitude, and love's quiet power to heal. In Kelly's words, "He made me promise that if either of us ever forgets what's important, we'll just look back on that night, the one when he made that wish, because that wish saved us both." When someone we admire faces the fragility of life, our perception of fame changes. The lights, the cameras, and the polished smiles fade into the background, revealing something deeper, something heartbreakingly human. Such was the case with Mark Consuelos, the beloved actor and TV host whose charm has long captivated audiences around the world. But when reports surfaced about his time in the ICU, fans were left shaken, and now, as his final wish from that hospital bed comes to light, the story is both emotional and inspiring. So stay with us to get all the latest updates. Thank you very much for watching our video in full. Stay tuned for all the updates about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. Thank you very much for watching our video in full, and subscribe my channel.